Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. We've got a packed show today. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed, live from Los Angeles. I'm Jamie Maggio, alongside Chris Broussard, Rob Parker, and Greg Jennings. Good morning, fellas, and happy Friday.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
I'm excited about today. Bring your A game, not like yesterday.
Is that right?
I don't know what that was. C game, D game, but
well, I'll tell you, anything I bring today will be better than what Tiger brought yesterday.
Oh.
True.
Don't make Greg cry.
Mr. Optimistic. I know
Already.
he's got something to say
I
about
mean,
that.
what's wrong with being optimistic? That's being hopeful of the future. Like, let's get that straight. I mean, today he's off
think-
to
Do
a
you
good
think
start.
he's feeling optimistic today, Tiger?
He is. I don't know, after 14, he bogeyed 14, so he's even for today, but he's optimistic.
All right, well, we'll get to Tiger later in the show. But on the show today, we are going to talk about another side of Bill Belichick, Tiger Woods' chances at the U.S. Open, and a huge matchup in the World Cup. But we are going to start this show with Kevin Durant. He won his second straight Finals MVP award a week ago, but he's still facing criticism for joining the loaded Warriors team and cruising to back-to-back titles. KD was asked last week if Golden State's dynasty was ruining the NBA and said, quote, "I'm not worried about the NBA. That's their job." Now, Browns defensive end Myles Garrett called KD out yesterday for joining a super team. Take a listen.
KD broke the league. You hopped onto a 73-9 team, and he took the easy way out, in my mind. It was different for when LeBron left. He kind of went to, Wade and Bosh, and it wasn't something that was already guaranteed, something that you already knew was going to have immediate success. You kind of had to gel and work things into place. But with KD, you just stick him in and he scores. I mean, you already knew what they had. They were 73-9 before, and you put the second best player in the world on a already all-time great team, and of course you're gonna have success, and pretty easy success.
Calling KD out. You know what, Chris? We'll start with you first. So you know who Myles Garrett is, right?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
What do you think? Did KD damage the league?
There's no question. As somebody that's covered the NBA for more than 20 years, who loves the NBA and still loves it, it is without question that he hurt the league. The commissioner, Adam Silver, even said that it wasn't ideal from a league standpoint for KD to go to the Warriors. They're 32-6 in the playoffs the last 2 years. And they're threatening to become next year the first team since the Bill Russell Celtics to reach the finals 5 straight years. Now, generally, dynasties have been good for the NBA, but let's look at some of the recent dynasties. In the 80s, Bird Celtics, which we call a dynasty, they never repeated. The Showtime Lakers, they won 5 finals in the 80s, but they lost 4. The Jordan Bulls always played somebody different in the finals until the last 2 years where they went Utah. It was Portland, Phoenix, the Lakers, Seattle. So there was drama and intrigue to see who they were going to play. And then again in the 80s, Detroit broke through a couple times. Philadelphia won a championship and swept the Showtime Lakers, beat Bird Celtics. So Houston beat the Showtime Lakers. So even when you had dynasties, there was still competitiveness. This is not competitive. We all knew from day one who was going to be in the finals and who was going to win the finals, and that it wasn't going to be close. Now, here's where I differ with Myles Garrett. I don't blame Kevin Durant. You can criticize him for saying he's not competitive and all that. He's not a competitor if you want. But he's right. It's not his job to make the NBA competitive. He made what he thought was the best move for him. It was within the rules. That's fine. I certainly don't criticize the Golden State Warriors. We praise Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson for being killers, having the killer instinct, putting their foot on somebody's neck when they have them down. That's what Golden State did when they got KD. They said, you know what? We're the best team. We're going to get even better, and we're trying to win every championship. I like that. So people can resent KD and Golden State. I'm not mad at them, but it definitely hurt the NBA.
There's no doubt about it, but Myles is 100% wrong when he looks to put blame on somebody. you didn't mention who is really the author of this awful NBA. His name is LeBron James.
How did I know you were going to turn
LeBron
it, totally turn it
James
into LeBron?
ruined the NBA. It was when he left to form a super team in Miami that went to 4 straight championships, right? Finals, and they won 2 of the 4. But when he teamed up with Wade and he teamed up with Bosh, and then people say, no, it wasn't LeBron who started the super team, it was Boston. It wasn't Boston. Because if you remember, when Boston put together their top 3, they made trades. They traded pieces to get Ray Allen, and they traded pieces to get Kevin Garnett.
And one thing
Miami
quickly
hadn't
in
won.
support of you, Kevin Garnett, remember, he had to be convinced to go to Boston.
And
he
he
didn't want to leave Minnesota.
And he had played 13 years in Minnesota. It wasn't in the prime of his career.
Well, he still was in the prime.
He was in the prime. But
it wasn't player generated.
That's what I'm saying.
The bottom line.
And LeBron James altered it by doing what he did. And here it is. After he left, here's some of the players who also left their teams. Harden, Durant, Carmelo Anthony, LaMarcus Aldridge, Dwight Howard, Chris Paul. Here's all these other stars that felt if LeBron could walk from their franchises, they felt like they could do it as well. So he opened up the floodgates. And here's the part. When you talk about Golden State and LeBron, LeBron started what I would call MySpace, right? And Golden State started Facebook. They one-upped him with the Kevin Durant addition. Right. That's what they did. They saw what LeBron did, and they said, okay, we got something for you. So when I hear LeBron crying about, oh, it's not fair, and look at what they got, LeBron started it. He did it first, and they one-upped him. I didn't like what Durant did. I think it's bad for the NBA. There was something in baseball years ago when the Oakland A's were selling all their players to the Yankees and the Red Sox, and the commissioner stepped in and said, nope, these sales are not going to go through because it's not in the best interest of baseball. The same thing with Durant. The commissioner, somebody has to step in and say it's not good.
Chris Paul should have been in a Lakers uniform.
No, that wasn't good for the league.
Basketball reasons.
But that
so
was different. That was different because Stern literally owned the New Orleans team at that point. It was a weird situation. It wasn't like he did it on behalf of the NBA. He did it as the owner of the New Orleans team at that time.
Because the league had taken over.
Yeah, so it was a little different.
But
I know that's what Lakers fans, they like to say it was a conspiracy. No. Don't go there, James.
Mr. Parker Jr., for the first time, I think I side with you on this one.
I'm going to fake right here.
I don't think that, again, what Myles Garrett said, is there some validity to it? Absolutely. I think the league has definitely been, I wouldn't say damaged, altered by these decisions.
Negatively.
In a negative way, by these decisions of the supreme superstars, the elite of the elite, joining together and collaborating. But Kevin Durant did not start this. LeBron James did start this when he, in a weaker conference, joined together with 2 other all-stars, perennials, from that same conference.
Probably 2 of the top 5.
Yeah, exactly. At
that
time, to collaborate and come together down in Miami to do what they did. So again, Durant's point, the mentality of the players now is not what it once was of the Reggie Millers and of the Patrick Ewings and the Michael Jordans, and to stick through it and to try to do it by themselves or with what they have to work with without moving on and joining somebody else and joining forces.
Greg, you know what? I want to say this on your point. I remember when the Knicks were trying to beat the Bulls and Jordan, and the Knicks needed a guard, and the Knicks tried to trade for Isaiah Thomas, the real Isaiah Thomas.
Yep.
And you know what he said? He said, that's Patrick's team. I'm not going to New York.
Absolutely not.
He wouldn't go.
Like, that's how they identified themselves. This is my territory. This is my team. That's your team. You have to beat me, or I have to beat you. When I listen and I hear what Isaiah says about Magic and them having to go through those growing pains of the Celtics, and then Jordan have to go through those growing pains of the Pistons, but they learned how to win because of that. Now it's a matter of, well, if I can't beat them, then let me either go somewhere, join some with somebody, or just join the team that is doing it now. I don't fault Durant because honestly, I think Durant is a little bit wiser than most because you see a lot of great players who wait too long, like a Carmelo Anthony, that thinks that they can get it done on their own and probably will never get it done. And they try to jump on a super team late in their career when they really don't have that much left to offer. We saw it with Karl Malone, we saw it with Charles Barkley, and it just didn't work out. Again, those eras, they had the mentality that we're going to do it where we started,
and Karl
our
Malone
way.
Came to the hated Lakers.
Absolutely.
When you
and
think
you know
about
what?
that.
If Malone would have won that championship in 04,
the Pistons
it would
won
not.
it, right?
It's the same.
It would not have changed his legacy.
No, it's the same.
When
with,
you
it's
do
the
it
same
past
with,
your prime,
right.
it doesn't really.
No, it's the
matter.
same with Gary Payton. Like we don't look at Gary Payton
And
as
he won in Miami.
Exactly.
Right.
No, but with Kevin Durant, because he did it in his prime, and he was on a team that should have won. I shouldn't say won the finals, but could have won the finals. Should have beaten the Warriors,
They
the
had
team
them
that
down
he joined.
3-1, and they could have easily moved on, and they didn't. But the other point that you brought up, I thought was the best. Even in those old years where there were a lot of repeat champions, there were other teams in the mix that they didn't win, but they were there. You couldn't tell that their fan
You didn't know
bases.
who was going to do it at the beginning of the season.
And here, you know automatically, just like barring some major injury, I expect the Warriors to be in the mix for another championship.
Look, this is how bad it's gotten. We all know that only the Warriors can beat themselves. And LeBron James is clearly the best player in the world. And there has actually been talk, not from LeBron, but from others saying maybe he'll sit out a year because there is not one of the other 29 teams where you can put the best player in the world and still think they're going to beat Golden State. Mm-hmm. That's how bad this has got. And look, you guys are right. LeBron started it. He is now being haunted by the trend that he began. It used to be, like you guys said, and everybody had their own team, back in the 90s. And we look back at the teams Jordan beat, and we do say there were no super teams back then. Even in the 80s, I think the Celtics, the Lakers were super teams, but they were organic super teams that were drafted, that were trades and things like that. But each guy had his own team. Jordan had his team. Ewing had his team. Barkley had his team. Drexler had his team, and so on and so forth. And you beat, that one team. And there's something honorable about taking the cards that you are dealt and making the most out of it. And the guy who made the most out of it was Isaiah Thomas. I mean, Magic, I'm taking nothing away from him, but he received a great hand. Absolutely. I mean, he goes to the team with Kareem. In 82, they draft James Worthy, #1 pick, the best player in college. And he had a plethora of other great teams. Bird had a pretty good hand with McHale and Parrish.
But they were really bad
Dennis
for a long time when they got drafted, Bird.
When Bird got drafted.
At first.
So, but he had a pretty good hand. Isaiah Thomas, the smallest of all of them, 6 feet tall, he worked and worked and worked and built that team into a champion and arguably a mini dynasty. And there's something honorable about that. Like a Russell Westbrook and Allen Iverson, who got traded but always said, look, I don't have to go somewhere else. I want to stay in Philly. And if I don't win it, fine.
And they went to the championship.
There's something honorable about fighting to win it, even if you don't. If Russell Westbrook stays in Oklahoma City his whole career and is like, I'm going to win it myself, I'll find that honorable. I won't hold it against him.
We will find that honorable, but he also is going to take some criticism because he did not win. Charles Barkley gets flack from all professional athletes.
It doesn't take away that he's a great player.
It does not take away that he's a great player, but it's that haunting feeling that you have. Man, I was a great player, but never accomplished the greatest feat. And that's something to be said. So when you look at these athletes now, they're thinking about players like that went their entire career at the pinnacle of individual accolades, all these great things that they have won and the records that they may have set, and not win.
But you know what? I look at LeBron and I say, if he stayed the whole time in Cleveland, and say he went to the 2 championships, the one that they lost when he was very young, and then they finally win after 50 years, I don't think it will look as bad. When you pile up all his numbers, he finally broke through in Cleveland, they finally got a championship. Just going and losing, I don't think has the same as if he would have finally broken through and won.
So you saying if he'd have been, say, 1-1 in the finals?
If he was 1-1 in the finals and had finally won for that city after 50 years of not winning a championship, I don't think people will look at him as negatively as losing 6 championships.
But here's the thing. No, would he be in the GOAT conversation?
Exactly.
He has all the other numbers.
Yeah, but 2, if you've only been to 2 finals,
But you won one.
I don't think he'd be in the conversation.
He
No,
wouldn't. There's no way he would be in the
Why? He
conversation.
has all the other numbers.
Because we measure.
But he won a championship, though.
Chamberlain won
That's
2.
what
He's not
everyone
really in the
measures.
conversation.
4, though.
That's
Chamberlain.
That's the measuring stick. The championships. When we look at in the NFL, championships. When we look in the NBA, championships. That's the measuring stick.
But he did win one, is what I'm
You and I
saying.
have talked about this. Aaron, and you know this better than us. Aaron Rodgers may be the best quarterback to ever throw the football. Just the position,
Skill-wise,
playing the position.
right.
But we don't put him in the GOAT conversation because he's only won one.
He's only been
Even
to
though
one.
we admit he may be the best. And look, and you brought up a good point. We do, as the media, bear some of the blame for why LeBron went. Early in his career, I talked to LeBron, maybe his 3rd year in his career. He told me, I'm not going to be a ring chaser. Now, I'm not saying he's a ring chaser. He really wants to win. But
He is
you
a
saw
ring
what
chaser.
happened
What do you mean?
later in his career. You know,
He panicked.
We put so much pressure
We started
on
defining.
these guys. And look, it was the post-Michael Jordan. It started with Magic and Bird because they were all about winning and they won a good amount. Then Jordan won so much that now everybody is judged on championships. Before those players, it wasn't quite the same.
But I think it also has something to do with Charles Barkley because he became such a high-profile guy, and then they were always ripping on him that he didn't win.
never won.
So then it was like this whole thing, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be a great player who never won. And I think that's what pushed it to the forefront where LeBron just panicked early in his career to say,
Well, he was,
I got to get out of here.
7 years in.
Right, but he started at 18 years old, right? So he was really young when he walked out on his team, and I think that's where it all started. I think LeBron has done a lot of damage when he leaves this league and when he retires. People will remember him that he started this AAU mentality of guys teaming up, and it has really hurt the league. This year, for an example, instead of the Warriors being like looked at and marveled at and appreciated, right, as a dynasty 2 in a row and 3 out of 4, you had stagnant to lower TV ratings for the finals. Game 4 of the sweep was the lowest clinching NBA TV ratings game since 2009.
It was also a blowout.
Right, but I'm just saying, but people have turned off to seeing the same 2 teams 4 years in a row. You get tired.
Well,
So
it's not
LeBron
competitive.
started it. Kevin Durant followed suit.
Kevin Durant kind of perfected it.
Right.
He tried. Yeah,
And
he
And all of us are suffering.
He one-upped him.
Because LeBron said not 3, not 4,
And that-
not 5. He
I was
wanted
right.
what Durant had.
And I was
So
going to
don't wanna
mention
hear
that.
him
I
complain.
think that when you say if LeBron what would have made it better is if he would have stayed in Cleveland, and I think what made it worse for LeBron was what you just said. The fact that the way he left, how he did it with the presser.
Yeah, that was bad.
And then once he got down to Miami, it was like he was trolling the league,
Right.
saying not 1, not 2, not 3. Like, that's what made it so bad. And then we surmounted everything on top of it. I
don't think if LeBron doesn't go to Miami, number one, I don't think it even crosses Kevin Durant's mind.
I totally agree.
To go to Golden State. I don't even
Absolutely.
think it would. And if it did, if somebody suggested it to him, I think it would be like, there's no way I can do that. You just can't do that. Is that even possible?
I'll give you another one. I think that Popovich started the resting of players.
Yes,
But
yep.
when you look at, once LeBron embraced that and stopped doing some of these games, other stars were like, if LeBron's willing to take a couple of games off, right?
Yep.
I don't feel guilty. And then they started doing it. They started missing all these games. He sets the trend because he's the best player. People follow the best player.
So are we going to see the best players playing all 82 games now because he did?
Well, because he did it right. Well, because he got so much criticism, right? All of a sudden, he wound up playing. Michael Jordan played all 82 games his last year with the Wizards.
Look, when Jerry West, we all know, 1-8 in the finals, but he's the logo. His nickname is Mr. Clutch. This is how different things are now. Back when he played, a great player, whether he won a championship or not, was recognized for being a great player. There's no way if you went to the finals 9 times and lost 8, your nickname would be Mr. Clutch. It would be, you would be criticized in the opposite way. So that's why I say post-Jordan and to a certain extent Magic Bird, it's all changed. And these players feel like I have to justify my legacy by winning championships. And that's partly responsible for all this mobility.
That's it, right? That's their mentality. Okay, I'm going to make sure I cement myself, do whatever it takes to win, and then after that, that's why I don't think Durant, that's not his future in Golden State. He's going to end up somewhere else. Where, we don't know, but he just wanted to ensure, let me get these rings while I can, and then I can go off and do everything else.
But Chris has talked to former and current NBA players. Durant will never get the real respect. The ultimate. He won. He can feel good about it. He got money in his pocket, all that, and I get that. But I'm just telling you, as far as being recognized by your peers, like this guy was a dog and he won those championships, he'll never get that unless he goes somewhere else and wins again.
Let me tell you, Jim Jackson said something yesterday that his game is 1A. Like, he is second to none as far as his game.
But second to LeBron.
Well, yeah. But his personality as far as leadership qualities and that dogmatic mentality, he doesn't really possess that. That comes out of him, we see with a Draymond Green pulling it out of him next to a Steph Curry, where he feels most comfortable. Even in OKC, the dogmatic mentality came from Russell Westbrook. Absolutely. So when you look at Kevin Durant, he doesn't care about that. These guys look for, number one, their peers now. It's all about who's going to win and how can we win. You look at Chris Paul, he's trying to find out, how can I win? It's not a matter of, yeah, I want to do it on my own. No, I need to win. That will cement myself, and then everything else after that.
That's why I respect Kyrie Irving so much, that he was willing to walk away from one of the greatest players ever and say, I want to do my own thing.
Well, you can say that, and I believe his decision to do that was made easier because he won.
Right.
Had he not won with the greatest player, then would he have walked away?
Maybe not. Maybe not. But speaking of winners, guys, is Bill Belichick really turning over a new leaf and letting the Patriots have fun? We'll discuss that next. Fun. Bill Belichick.
Hey guys, Joy Taylor here. More Undisputed is on the way, but first, a quick word from our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings. At Buffalo Wild Wings, we'll admit that we often go overboard with our limited time offerings. We just can't help ourselves. Take our new signature sampler for $15. You get wings and 3 shareable options like fried pickles or cheese curds. Then there's our aptly named over-the-top nachos, a literal mountain of crispy tortilla chips loaded with your choice of pulled pork or honey barbecue grilled chicken, corn, jalapenos, and more. Then top it all off with our new Platinum Margarita. Go overboard with us today at Buffalo Wild Wings, Wings, Beer, Sports. Available for limited time while supplies last. Please drink responsibly. Now, back to the show.
It's been an interesting week for Bill Belichick and the Patriots. On Monday, Belichick took members of the team to Fenway Park to play cornhole and do some team bonding. Then on Tuesday, he turned practice into a history lesson of the NFL, from leather helmets to showing old school black and white football clips. An anonymous player said, quote, "It was a lot of fun." Fun. That was capped off by Belichick canceling the Patriots' final 2 voluntary OTAs. Bill Belichick and fun. That's not usually 2 words that you associate with each other, Rob. Let's start with you. Bill Belichick turning a new leaf?
Say it isn't so. What is this? I'm like, okay, so a couple of former players, right, spoke out this past year, right, talking about how it wasn't fun to play there and they didn't enjoy the process, even though they won, they went to the Super Bowl or whatnot. So now it looks like Bill Belichick is is trying to loosen it up a little bit. I don't like it at all. And to me, this is what it signals, that winning for the Patriots is over. Hear me out. Hear me out, because Bill Belichick.
When you say winning for the Patriots,
I'm talking about
Super Bowl.
Super Bowls is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Because now we got Grandpa, softer, gentler, Bill Belichick. I wouldn't even let this guy hold the remote anymore because Bill has gotten soft. Here we go. We saw this before. Do you remember Dick Vermeil crying after every game when he was with the Rams?
They actually had success.
Remember that?
They were a good team.
But when you get old, the hormones, things are going crazy. Bill Belichick with playing cornhole and passing out corn dogs. And what is going on here? Stick with what you know. Being that bully guy, being that guy that people dislike. It's worked for you very nicely, right, with 5 championships. And now all of a sudden, you're getting kinder and gentler because people said they didn't have fun under your watch. So I don't like it. If I'm a Patriots fan, I don't like this new Bill Belichick. I'm telling you, it's going to change the culture. They will not, N-O-T, win another Super Bowl under Bill Belichick if he keeps this up.
Rob, this is a normal Rob. He's back. He's back. No, Bill Belichick is not changing. This is nothing new. This is not the first time a team or even Bill Belichick has done these team-building outings. Cornholes, skeet shooting, paintball. Like, teams do this in OTAs. At the very end of OTAs, you sometimes take the last 2 off. Guys are looking out, waiting for the buses to show up. Like, are the buses here yet?
What are we going to do
What are we doing? Absolutely.
Field trip.
Absolutely. You're looking for them to throw you a bone. You've grinded this entire offseason. You've put in work. Now it's time. Look, let's have fun. Let's enjoy one another and then go on break and come back, refocus, and locked in. That's what this is. Now, I'm hopeful that Bill Belichick turns over a new leaf. Because just like any great thing, you take any great product, Apple, let's use Apple for an example. If they don't come up with all these updates and continue to evolve and be creative and advance themselves, they will be pushed to the back burner. But because they continue to make these updates, continue to self-assess and self-reflect, and it makes their product better. You have to be able to tailor yourself to these players, these current players. The way you coached 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
They went to the Super Bowl last year.
I understand all that.
What are we talking about?
But his decision-making has cost him a great relationship with his greatest player because he feels like it's going to be my way. No one has input. It can't be like that all the time. You have to be open-minded and allow your players to feel like they have a say. This is your team. Any successful team that you see out there, most of the players will say, we have ownership in this team.
Did they ever say that in New England?
The Patriots, we've never heard them say that.
You were on a roll early. You kind of went off.
He's off track now.
Look, you're right. This is nothing new. This is being overblown because we've seen reports about all the acrimony and all the problems in New England. But he's taken them to movies before. He's taken them bowling before. He's given them history lessons on Memorial Day and Veterans Day before. Like you said, he's given them days off on OTAs at the end of spring before. So this is not new. And Bill Belichick is too smart to think you can change. Like you said, you can tweak, but you can't go from being a disciplinarian to being loosey-goosey or loosey-goosey to a disciplinarian, because players will see through that and say you're phony. Now, here's the one thing that Bill Belichick has to do, because I do think there's some issues there, no doubt. But this is what it boils down to. Cornball is not going to solve it, okay?
Cornhole.
Cornhole. Cornhole.
Cornball.
Hide and seek, cornhole, tag, whatever. Look, this is the one thing Bill Belichick has to do. Tell his players why he didn't play Malcolm Butler. That's what he has to do.
See, I like that better.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's better than that. Right.
I think what has allowed players to get through the lack of fun in New England is that they always believed at the end of the day, man, he's about winning. He's about making us better. And yeah, he rides us hard. Yeah, he doesn't let us do this. Yeah, he doesn't give us a voice, but it's because he's all about winning. Now, for the first time, I'm not saying they totally think he doesn't want to win.
No, but
now there's a doubt in your mind.
Because you know what?
What's that about?
They
Is
looked
that
at
personal?
it. They said, here we are in the biggest game with a chance to win and change a lot of, especially if you're Tom Brady, legacies, a lot of things went down. And then not only did you do that to us, we don't even know the reason why. It would be different. You know this, Greg. You're on a team. You know that guy did something, right?
Even if you don't agree with Belichick's explanation, at least he's showing you the respect to give you one.
I think that, to your point, you said, and I'm not saying he has to change drastically, like go from strict to loosey-goosey. That's not what I'm saying. But you have to start to tailor what you have done because it's now proving to not work as well. You're not being able to communicate. The message that you're sending is not being heard any longer. So now you have to find a new way to say it.
Don't you think the main thing,
Absolutely, without question, that's the elephant in the room. And I think if he does share that, if he does finally say, this is why I did it, that is Bill Belichick changing more than him actually altering the way he's going to present himself to the players this year. You want to know why? Because he's always held this stigma of, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know if I'm going to be here. I don't know if I'm going to play this week. So if he now all of a sudden says, well, this, and don't get me wrong, I want to know. If I'm a player, I would want to know. But if he does say it, he is now giving up his ability to kind of, his leverage, if you will, to just say, I'm going to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, when I feel it's best for this team. And there is nothing you can, and players, they play with a certain edge and a certain fear, if you will, but he gets the most out of his guys that way.
That's a great point. That's a good point. It could change that dynamic that he has. I just wonder, though, does he need to at least bring Brady and Grant, whoever the other leaders are, and just tell them, look, this went
down,
I mean,
right? And then they
that
can get the
maybe
message
is
out.
the first time. That was the biggest situation, and it was one that blew up in his face. One of the few, if not the only one, that blew up in his face, and it was so drastic. You know, that was.
What did he
that wasn't
play, like
even
in,
just cutting a player.
He
played 98% of the plays.
Right, and then he just
snaps.
played in like a kickoff or something, right?
One play
in the kickoff or something.
I think
That's
one special team play.
Right, that was
Not
all
a
he
defensive
had,
snap.
right? Yeah,
Not a defensive snap. And again, I don't know if you can even tell Tom, if you can sit Tom Brady down now because of kind of the direction that he started to go. I don't know if he's going to send out some subliminal message on social media saying that, kind of meaning that I possibly sat down with coach. I know the reason why Malcolm Butler didn't play or whatever. You don't know these things. So for Bill Belichick now, it's like I can't say anything.
But see, here's the difference. Here's the difference on why this looks different from you saying this stuff has happened before. This is coming on the heels of a number of players being vocal saying that they didn't enjoy their experience of being in New England, despite going to the Super Bowl, despite winning so many games. And then it just seems like maybe now Bill is trying to loosen up because maybe guys don't want to be there. And maybe he just looked at himself and said, as you say, I got to change a little bit. Players have changed, styles, times have changed. I need to do something a little bit different. That's why, to me, it jumps out a little bit more because we heard so much pushback from players.
You know why we typically don't hear this type of pushback from players about their experiences with teams? It's because when they're still playing, there's always a chance you may end up back in that uniform. There is a possibility that I may have to go back or I may need to go back to extend my career or to continue my career. But now what we're seeing is guys saying, I don't want to go back. And I don't care if I don't go back. If that's the last, I don't care anymore. This needs to be said because I feel like it either altered my career or I missed out on having fun. And don't get me wrong, winning is great. Winning is fun.
In fairness, too, you do have a lot of players, ex-players, some current players, who also are saying they have fun there.
But look at Chris Long. Chris Long won, right?
won.
Chris Long went to the Eagles, won, right? And said, man, the experience was better in Philadelphia, and he enjoyed it, even though he
that's my
played
point.
in New England.
Rob,
and you know what I mean? And they went to the Super Bowl.
That's my point. There's this narrative out there that winning cures all. No, it doesn't always cure everything, because the moment you experience losing, that winning is all done. That is forgotten. Now it's like all the sores, all the blemishes, all the little pokes and the bruises that you got while you won, now they hurt.
Right.
Now you feel them. Now I have to tell you about them. It's just like in a relationship. Everything is great until there's an argument, until it's not. And then all of a sudden, you have a whole bunch that you need to tell me, but wait till you get done. I got a whole bunch that I've been waiting to tell you. That's the same with winning and losing.
Yeah, Greg's giving relationship advice now. This is a whole different show. Guys, maybe Bill Belichick just likes cornhole. Maybe it's as simple as that.
I love cornhole.
Well, we had to explain it to these guys.
I've never heard of it. I
Embarrassing.
know once you explained it, I recognize the game.
I've had corn on the cob, but I just didn't understand.
He's been called a corn ball.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you were calling him when you said cornball.
Was that me or somebody else?
All
I'm going to stop right there.
All right, guys, next up, Tiger Woods back on the course after struggling big time yesterday in the first round
Let's
of
go,
the U.S.
Tiger.
Open. Tiger opened yesterday with a triple bogey and added 2 double bogeys on the back 9, finishing with an 8 over par 78. He teed off again early this morning in the rain. He just birdied the 16th hole to go 1 under par on the day through 7. Greg is puffing up your chest.
It's like
over there,
you got 2 points through the first 3 quarters, then you hit a jumper in the start of the fourth. I mean, what?
No, this is different. This is different.
You were all excited yesterday, pumping up Tiger. You said he was going to win this.
No,
right?
I said I was optimistic.
Optimistic was the word.
I
he
think
used.
you meant prayerful.
No,
Seriously, like, I'm prayerful. Am I optimistic? Do I really think he's going to win?
do I need
No.
to explain what optimistic?
Yeah,
the definition.
Actually, yes, you do.
Yeah, I would like you to.
You were optimistic what that he was going to play?
Optimistic means like I'm hopeful for the future. I'm hopeful for something. Like that's what I am with Ty. I'm hopeful that
there
he
has
can
to be
he can make a
some
turnaround.
evidence,
Absolutely.
Some reason for your optimism.
Right.
What's the reason?
My reason now is today. Do you see what we're
No, but before yesterday.
Before yesterday, he had some great outings. They just weren't. He
Great?
couldn't finish.
How the mighty have fallen.
No.
Wait. That's the problem. We've lowered the standards to he finished the tournament.
Right.
His back didn't act up. I mean, seriously, he was good for 3 of the 4 days. That's what it's come to.
Chris.
I'm judging Tiger Woods by what he used to be, and I have seen nothing to make me optimistic that he's going to win a major. Heck, a tournament.
He hasn't won a major in 10 years or a tournament
That's
in
the
5.
problem. That's the problem.
is so
Physically, are you the same man you were 10 years ago?
You sound like Howard.
No, are you
talking to Muhammad Ali?
Are you?
And leave my wife out of this.
Are you?
In some ways.
No, you're
in
not.
Some ways.
No, you're not,
But
Chris.
look,
And you have not had a back infusion. You have not had all these injuries that Tiger Woods have had.
Excuses.
those
aren't excuses.
Those are
are
reasons you shouldn't be optimistic.
That's
That's
right.
my point.
No, when I'm optimistic, because right now what he's doing is giving me a hope that potentially
That your old man game will be
I
good?
can see him winning a tournament. Bottom line, a major, whatever it may be. He is let's take today. No, let's start with yesterday. And this is why golf is such a frustrating but great sport. You can play great and have 1 or 2, and in Tiger's case, 3 bad holes. And you could possibly shoot yourself out of a tournament.
Okay.
The grind, the resilience that he has to stick to it, almost like I don't care what hole I dig myself into, I can find a way to get myself out. That's what Tiger has to do. The game has changed. The competitors that he's competing against, their mentality has changed. They don't look at Tiger as this unsurmountable, unbeatable guy
They
anymore.
shouldn't, since he hasn't won it so long.
No, you're absolutely right. But that doesn't mean I can't be optimistic that he can still win, because he's proven, he's shown in stretches. He just hasn't put it all together.
Everybody shows in stretches.
Yes.
Everybody,
Lonzo Ball
Chris,
had a
let me tell you
his
something.
Second, third game.
No.
I mean, seriously.
No,
every pro athlete, you know it great. Every receiver in the NFL, everyone is capable of having a good game. Am I wrong about
Chris,
that?
let me explain to you the difference. When you have won the way Tiger has won, you have earned that right to now come back, and we still feel like we might see a flash. If Jordan
10 years later?
No, let him go.
When Jordan came back, even when he left, he came back with the number 45.
What about when he came back with the Wizards?
No, I ain't talking about when
that's more comparable to what we see now with Tiger Woods.
I'm not talking about when he came back with the Wizards, because this is Tiger's first time coming back.
Yeah,
So,
but his body is
that
about
was Jordan's
comparable
second time.
to Jordan with the Wizards. He's not comparable to Jordan in '96. That Jordan was still the greatest player in the world.
He had just stepped away for a year or
year
two.
and a half.
He did, and I get all of that. My point is, you can have a stretch in golf to where you get hot and you can put it together. So for me to not be optimistic with one of the greatest golfers to ever play the game, that's foolish, in my opinion.
It's been 10 years. I agree. He's arguably the greatest to ever play the game. But those days are over. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying
he can have a stretch.
He's going to come back and be the greatest.
He can have a day. He can have 2 days, maybe 3. But can he put together 4?
So you're saying there's no chance?
I'm just saying I don't have a reason to be optimistic. I didn't like the word optimistic.
Maybe because you didn't know what it meant.
No, I think I do know what it means. I think you were prayerful. I think you're pulling for him.
He's fangirling a little bit. Let him fangirl. He's got it in his heart.
I didn't even go that far.
Is that bad? That's not bad. It's the truth. It's in your heart. You want to see him succeed.
I do. I do want to see him succeed.
And I get that.
But I'm hopeful because of what the stretches that I've seen him play. If he can string it together like he's doing today, he's grinding at a challenging course. No one has run away with the lead. No one in the field has run away with the lead. So there is still a chance. You act like there's no chance.
I'm with Chris in that it's been so long. When you haven't won, you're talking about 10 years of major, 5 years any tournament. What you're talking about is like miracles. You're thinking of Tiger feeding the masses with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. That's what you're hopeful about, that some miracle like that's going to happen. It's not realistic.
It would be an amazing story if
Let me tell you something. When Tiger does win,
he's not going to win.
When Tiger does win, then you guys are going to say, I mean, it was one time he was.
In there?
But here's the thing, Greg. I'm not saying he might not win. I hope he wins another tournament. But we were talking about.
So you're optimistic.
No, we were talking about yesterday.
So you're optimistic.
Yesterday, going into this tournament, did we think he could win? And you were optimistic he could win.
Yes.
That's what I
based on
I
what?
think exactly. Where's
Based
the
on
evidence?
what?
Optimism has to have some type of evidence for your optimism. What is it? That he had a good round or two?
What evidence do I not have?
He hasn't been able to put together a full tournament in at least 5 years.
So so just because he has not been able to do that means that he can't do that this weekend?
It means there's no reason to think he will.
That makes no sense.
Yes, it does.
No, it makes no sense.
Had he won, say, a lesser tournament, or really like just lost on the last hole or something, where you would say, like, he's really there, or he won something.
He did that at Valspar.
But did he win?
No, he lost on the last hole.
But he didn't win. What I'm saying to you is,
you just said, had he lost on the last hole?
But that's not enough for me to be convinced that this guy can win again, because it's been so long. You're living in the past. It's okay. You're living. You still think that Tiger is the same guy. Golf is living. You know why golf pushes Tiger? Because more people show up, the ratings. But he can't win. He hasn't won.
You know, Greg.
10 years, Greg.
There's no doubt he has put together some. I agree that over the last year or so, since he's come back this last time, he has looked better. He's looked good. But he hasn't been able to get his whole game together. If he was driving well, it was his putter that was hurting him. If his irons were fine,
I'ma write
he
this
wasn't
day down.
driving.
What did he have
accurately.
yesterday? He had 30 putts yesterday.
I'm writing this day down. It's Friday
You want to
the 15th.
bet? You want to bet 300 chicken wings? What do you want to bet?
Friday the 15th of 2018. So the day that he wins, I want both of you to be on hand. I want both of you by your phones, and I want to hear what you have to say, and I want you to publicly apologize to Tiger and myself for embarrassing yourself.
No, optimistic
you know what you look like right now.
Right word.
You both look like some cornballs right now.
Bring it full circle.
You sound like cornballs right now.
Optimistic was just not the right word.
The sad part is when you contact me after that, I'll be at the old folks' home. So make sure you.
Right.
We'll be retired, long retired. Hit me up.
You guys want a little Tiger update?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tiger update. Tiger's still 1 under through 8 holes right now. Dustin Johnson has the lead at 3 under.
Can you say what Dustin Johnson is?
We don't
for
care
today?
about Dustin
Is he
Johnson.
2 under today?
What is Dustin for the day?
He's 2 under.
He's 2 under
today.
for the day. He is 2 under.
Does that prove your point?
Yeah,
With
but
Tiger?
what? Hold on.
But
But
leave
what,
the man
what was
alone. Let him root for Tiger.
What was Dustin yesterday?
What was
under.
Dustin yesterday?
1.
Not
And
me.
what was Tiger?
Tiger was.
You
Well,
act
say-
like he's.
well, say, I'm-
Dustin's 2 under, Tiger's 1 under. No, not for the
I'm
tournament.
talking. I'm just saying today.
Oh, Tiger's full. Now, look, if
Just
you
saying
ask me,
today.
am I optimistic Tiger can go out there and have a good day or 2, maybe 3? I'm definitely optimistic about 1 or 2. 3, maybe not so much, but that's what I'm optimistic about. I'm just not optimistic.
Why are you
optimistic
optimistic about the 1 or 2?
Because he's done that before.
Oh,
no,
because he's done it
but
before.
He's done it in
Thank
the last.
you.
Greg,
Thank you.
Greg, he's
We
done
didn't
it in
know,
the
Greg.
last.
That's all I wanted to hear.
He's done it in the last several months.
Right. That's all I wanted to hear,
You're
Chris.
going back 5, 10 years.
That's all I wanted to hear,
No,
Chris.
that's the difference.
That's all I
There's a
wanted to hear,
difference
Chris.
in doing it 3 months ago.
Come here. I appreciate you, Chris.
You don't understand what I'm saying.
Maybe
There's
you
a
need to
difference.
rephrase what you said.
No, there's a difference in doing something 3 weeks ago at Memorial and you talking about 10 years ago. That's the difference.
Chris, because you've seen it before, right?
No, because I've seen it
Because you-
recently.
You guys, we got to break it up.
Yeah, don't.
Just let him have Tiger.
Bring out a
I feel like you're
dictionary.
ganging up on poor
And
Greg.
tell Greg what
Just hang
optimistic
on
means.
to
Hopeful of the
We'll get a
future.
definition for you. Guys, there is a chance that LeBron would return to the Miami Heat, maybe. I don't know, maybe. We're going to discuss it.
Are
You
you
just made a face.
optimistic?
I'll go
I'm not optimistic about that.
Oh, what does that mean? I don't know.
We're going to get into our favorite topic, the LeBron sweepstakes. We'll keep that going. It's a new day and a new angle on where LeBron James will play next year. His former teammate, Udonis Haslem, says LeBron was hanging out with him and Dwayne Wade in Miami right before the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, the Lakers and Sixers are the favorites to sign LeBron, but despite a messy breakup 4 years ago, the Heat are still considered an option thanks to LeBron's affinity for Miami. Don't we all have an affinity for Miami, Chris? What do you think the likelihood is?
In the
LeBron?
words of my man, Rob Parker, no way, no how. I mean, people need to, ever since LeBron went back to Cleveland, people have gone overboard with this reunion idea. They thought Kevin Durant would consider going to Washington because he's from that area. He never even thought about going to Washington. They thought Russell Westbrook would come to the Lakers because he's from L.A. He never even considered it. He re-upped with Oklahoma City. Now they're thinking LeBron could go back to Miami because he played there. Going back to Cleveland was entirely different. He's from there. He had started his career there. He had unfinished business there. Even legacy. It impacted his legacy by leaving and then by going back and winning. Miami is no such thing. Look, that was 4 years of business. Like we said earlier, he had to get his rings. He did learn how to win there. He learned under Pat Riley, Dwayne Wade, so on and so forth. But there is no reason whatsoever for him to go back. He wants to win. Boston's a better option in the East. Philly's a better option in the East. The Heat are capped out for the next few seasons. Like, they don't even have the means to improve and help him win. His family has homes in L.A., not Miami. They sold their house in Miami. Same weather for the most part, but they choose to live in L.A. So even if it's a family situation, L.A. has the upper hand. Cleveland probably has the upper hand for that matter. So it would be beyond shocking if LeBron James even came close to going back to Miami.
And in this case, why would he rejoin Dwayne Wade, who he sent away, who couldn't help him in Cleveland, right? So how would that make any sense? I'm with you. I don't see this scenario. I know people keep throwing it out there. You know, I've had people tell me, oh, don't be surprised, which isn't really going out on a limb on anything because you're not really making a statement, right? You're just kind of throwing it out there. I don't see this at all. This does not work. LeBron James, if you got 3, 4, maybe good years left, you're trying to win a couple of more championships before Miami's not the answer. You just said that. They have no room to do anything, to add any other players. It's right now, it's NBA Siberia with sun.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So why would you go there to end your career? You had a good time. You won 2 out of 4 championships. You broke up with Pat Riley. That wasn't nice. Just leave it as is and kind of move on.
I'm with both of you guys here. If you look at the roster alone, LeBron James in the Miami Heat does not work. If we're talking about him, which winning is everything right now for him, he has no chance of, honestly, possibly even getting out of the East going to Miami.
Right.
Forget Golden State, trying to get out of the East, joining forces again with Dwayne Wade and Goran Dragic and Dion Waiters, who was hurt all of last year. Like, it's not enough pieces. And then you don't have the size to even compete with Golden State or the shooters. It makes no sense, in my opinion. But I'm with those out there that say you never know.
No, don't throw that.
No,
that doesn't mean anything because you're not saying anything.
I just did that to mess with you, Rob.
Know I hate that. Oh, you never know.
This begs the question then, what's in Miami? A good steak at Prime 112?
Yes.
Dwayne Wade is helping to break down some film ahead of the Eastern Conference
LeBron
Finals?
likes to go down there and hang out. Obviously, Wade's still a best friend.
I don't know if
they
family
probably did go to Prime 112.
Go get that Kobe beef
NBA
right there.
You know.
In there. But you said it. We want shooters around LeBron. They don't have that.
No.
They do have Hassan Whiteside, who could be a rim protector, but they don't have a playmaker that LeBron could play off of. Like, and Wade, if he did go back to Miami, which we know he won't, Wade wouldn't even be a factor as a player. Like,
he could only play 15 minutes, right?
Wade is essentially done, So, no, there is no way. I don't even understand why he would meet with him. I guess out of kindness.
Out of respect.
Out of respect. Maybe it lifts their stature in the eyes of other free agents. But besides that, he shouldn't even waste his time.
Maybe he just wanted a little warm
Why
weather.
would Udonis Haslam even bring this up? I'm sure he was asked.
Well, he's optimistic. that he can get LeBron, right? LeBron was here 4 years ago.
Right. He came and had a good meal, so maybe he might resign.
Maybe LeBron was preparing himself for the Golden State Warriors, getting his mind right down in the sun.
Well, look, he came out in that game 1 and got busy.
Yes, he did.
Maybe
it did work for him. That's right.
All right, so Miami, X that out, not going there. Let's talk about the other potential options as a landing spot for LeBron.
Well, look, I think...
Well, before you even go, I'm from Detroit Pistons, since we just throwing teams out there. And, we're hopeful. We're all hopeful and optimistic over here.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck with that one.
I think if I had to pick one team, it's the Lakers. Because, again, I think it brings the best combination of family, lifestyle. His family obviously is comfortable out here. They live out here in the summer.
He's got his business out here.
He's got businesses out here, yeah. And the Lakers have the ability to improve the team and win. I don't think he come by himself, but if he comes with a Paul George or a Chris Paul or any other star player, if they could trade for Kawhi Leonard, they will be a team that could win. I wouldn't put them ahead of the Warriors, but they would be a team that could win. My personal preference would be for him to go to either Philadelphia or Boston. I think he should stay in the East. I think he can get to more finals next year. And again, we talked about, it's always the GOAT conversation with LeBron. Even if, I've said it in years past, if he loses this series, he's out of it. But he keeps coming back into it because he's playing so well. If he can reach 10, 11, 12 straight finals or finals overall even, and he could do that in the East, then that in and of itself is an argument if he can win a couple more of those. He doesn't even have to win all of them, but win a couple more.
Just to be there.
You win 5, you lost 7.
See,
You've been to twice as much as Jordan. That becomes an argument for him in the GOAT
Here's
conversation.
why I don't believe he's going to make a transition to the West. Because I think LeBron James, for the most part, is allergic to competition. I think LeBron James loves being in the East where it has been a cakewalk for him. If he comes to the West, and whatever, he always has to stack the team, but whatever he does, and he stops going to the finals because they get knocked out in the first or second round, I don't think that's a good look for him. So I don't believe LeBron's going to come to the West to mix it up with these teams. It's more than just the Warriors who are in the way. There's more than just the Warriors.
The question is, that's the thing. I think if LeBron can keep going to the finals and win even half of the new ones he goes to, that helps him.
He ain't winning no
But is LeBron looking at it like, if I keep going and losing, I go from 3 to 6 to 3 to 7.
So he wants to come to the West and lose in the second round?
Well, that's a question. I'm asking you as a pro athlete, ex-pro athlete, is it better for him to go to the finals but keep losing? Let's say he went to the next 3 finals and lost all of them. Or go to the West and never reach another finals again?
I go to the finals and keep losing because at least I have an opportunity to possibly
So as a
win.
competitor.
But to you mentioned if he comes, he's allergic to competition, so he's going to stay in the East. Don't you think that it would be more of a stain if he stays in the East and doesn't get out of the East versus coming to the West?
I agree with that as far
But
as the way people look at it.
He will be able to get out of the East.
Right.
If he goes to Boston.
If he stays in the East, he has a better shot. I'm saying if you come out West, you look at the Warriors as the ultimate. Remember, they weren't the number 1 seed out West. Houston was.
Right.
And they're other. San Antonio, they didn't have Kawhi Leonard. They're going to be better. Boogie Cousins was hurt. Go look at the teams out West.
I
They're
agree.
stacked.
Honestly, this Cleveland team, they would have been struggling to make the playoffs in the West. I think they would have made it, but they might have been a first round out in the West.
I just feel like the list is short regardless of where he ends up going. But in the East, it really boils down to 1, maybe 2 teams.
Philly and Boston?
Philly and Boston.
I think those 2, yeah.
And really, Boston, you're now saying you're going to really stunt the growth of what you've just created with Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and all these guys.
You think you would care about that?
Growth?
I do, absolutely, because you have a dominating player and a presence who it's been proven if LeBron gets on the court, everybody's going to defer to him right away.
But Danny Ainge, as the GM and president, they want to win a championship. And if it means that I'm going to push those guys to the side a little bit, I would.
First of all, I think especially Jason Tatum, but also Jaylen Brown, they have the type of games that could play off LeBron.
They could definitely play off
Tatum can catch and shoot. He's a great defender. So it's not like Ben Simmons if LeBron wants to take the ball out of his hands. So that's number 1. Number 2, I think the days of 5-year plans are over.
Nobody gets to stick around
Danny
that
Ainge
long.
cannot sit on his laurels. They already got 3 max guys: Kyrie, or Al Horford, and Gordon Hayward. Some of these guys are going to have to break up. Tatum looks like he's going to be a max guy. Jaylen Brown may be a max guy.
They're going to have to get paid after a while.
Oklahoma City had Harden, Durant, and Westbrook a few years ago. Didn't win 1 title, only has 1 left. You can't say, we're going to be great in a few years. You got to win now if you can.
I hear you, but when I look at Boston as a potential landing spot, I don't see just him fitting in as a player. When you look at Boston, they run a system. Yeah. There is a system. And LeBron, you talk about LeBron being allergic to things. He is allergic to a system that is not the LeBron James offensive system.
That's a good point.
So when I see Boston, that is the number 1 thing that's like, I don't see that being a great fit.
You know what? He faces that wherever he goes.
You're right,
LA,
but
Houston,
but everywhere else that he goes, LA, they don't have a system that has worked. They don't. Everywhere else, it's like, okay, yeah, we're willing to take on whatever you bring because you will be us. You will make us great. But Boston, he will make Boston better. He will get them over the top. Potentially, they could win it. But their system works. It's proven.
Well, to a certain level.
To a certain level.
No, it works.
I'm going to save you having to look at your phone in the break. Tiger just bogeyed the 18th.
Oh!
That's okay.
You know what? I was optimistic that he was going to bogey.
All right, guys. Did Kevin Durant ruin the NBA by joining the Warriors? Jason McIntyre is here to discuss that. Coming up next. Well, Kevin Durant won his second straight Finals MVP award a week ago, but he's still facing criticism for joining the loaded Warriors team and cruising to back-to-back titles. KD was asked last week if Golden State's dynasty was ruining the NBA and said, quote, "I'm not worried about the NBA. That's their job." Now Browns defensive end Myles Garrett called KD out yesterday for joining a super team. Take a listen.
KD broke the league. You hopped onto a 73-9 team and he took the easy way out, in my mind. It was different for when LeBron left. He kind of went to, Wade and Bosh, and it wasn't something that was already guaranteed, something that you already knew was going to have immediate success. You kind of had to gel and work things into place. But with KD, you just stick him in and he scores. I mean, you already knew what they had. They were 73-9 before, and you put the second best player in the world on a already all-time great team, and of course you're going to have success, and pretty easy success.
All right, we are joined by Speak for Yourselves, Jason McIntyre. Jason, I know you have an opinion on this one.
Well, thanks for having me back. Back-to-back days. Broussard let that happen. I'm shocked.
Yeah,
he feels so threatened by me.
It was a big argument
Kevin
as to whether
Durant
or not
takes...
we should bring you back.
Like Belichick, he has a softer side these days.
Yeah.
Did KD, is he responsible for damaging the league?
No. I mean, this is Myles Garrett. I had to look up his major at Texas A&M just to make sure, he was actually taking real classes, because this is as bad as it gets, is it not? Did LeBron ruin the league when he joined 2 top 10 scorers in Miami? No. Did LeBron ruin the league when he went back to Cleveland to join forces with 25-10 guy Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, the MVP of the All-Star game? No. Kevin Durant, and people hate when I say this, but he made the tough decision. I mean, Jamie, this is a guy who was playing on a team with a point guard who was selfish, Russell Westbrook. He left there to go to a selfless team.
So he was selfish when they were 3-1 up on the Warriors, right?
You can't get hung up on that.
I'm not.
Rob, the man.
Come on, you can't. How did they get up 3-1? They get so selfish.
They
went to the finals one other year.
Here's the thing, Jason. When they were healthy, Westbrook, a lot of those years after they reached the finals, they weren't healthy together.
Correct.
So, there's no doubt Westbrook can be difficult
Durant
to
was
play
on a
with,
team with
don't act
two
like they
other
were winning.
superstars, Russell
team.
Westbrook and James Harden. And the GM went and traded James Harden, which hurt them. They never got back to the finals after that.
Because of the injuries, though.
Well, the injuries, but if they had Harden, they could have possibly overcome them. And I keep coming back to this. I don't care that they were up 3-1, okay? They were last in the league in passes per game. They were a selfish team. But the Golden State Warriors play a beautiful brand of basketball that everybody
you're ignoring the fact that, A, they had gone to the finals, so it's not like they never got there because they were selfish. And B, they should have beaten Golden State that year. If you remember, Durant in Game 7 shot 6 for 26. Or whatever it was. He had a terrible
Durant had a pretty good Game 7. He carried them and made
it.
But
Games 5 and 6, he was bad.
He was bad.
When they were Games 5 and 6, he was bad.
He was not present.
They were equally as bad.
So don't put it all on Westbrook.
The point guard who dominates the ball on that team, he was top 5 in average seconds per possession. He held the ball longer than any other point guard in the league. Kevin Durant had to get out of there. 8 years was enough.
And here's the thing. I think people are looking, first of all, I think Myles Garrett, it is kind of hard when you hear from a guy from the Browns. Since the last time they won a championship, they had just finished putting the finishing touches on the pyramids in Egypt. That's how long ago it was.
Not bad.
But, hey, I'm from Cleveland.
Okay,
slow down.
I'm just saying. But he's wrong. The league has been damaged, but LeBron James has damaged the league, not Kevin Durant. Again, Kevin Durant took the lead from LeBron James when he formed the super team down in Miami and basically just said, hey, you got MySpace, I got Facebook. And that's what the Warriors did. They won up LeBron James, And that's why LeBron can't cry about it. That's the one thing that I think is ridiculous.
As the biggest Tom
With his
Brady fan
fans.
in the world, the Patriots have been to, I believe, 8 Super Bowls in 18 years.
What?
Have they ruined the NFL because they're awesome and they add guys like Randy Moss?
They also went 10 years without winning a Super Bowl.
It's different.
Totally different.
Where I differ with you, look, I didn't get mad at KD for going to Golden State, and I'm not on that. What I'm on is it has damaged the league. For you to act like it hasn't hurt the league is just fine. We haven't seen dominance like this since Bill Russell. And back then,
there were only 8 teams back then.
Nobody really cared about the NBA to a large degree back then. Magic's teams didn't dominate like this. Jordan's teams won 3 straight, then he retired. Now, he probably could have kept winning. But even then, they were facing a different team every year.
There were way more teams in the mix.
And there was an organic feel to that team. If Golden State didn't have Durant and won these last 2, went 32-6 in the playoffs, there would be a different feel because it was more organic. And tell me the league has
Tiger Woods dominated golf. He damaged the sport. People love dynasties, whether it's the Yankees, whether it's the Patriots.
It's totally
They love competition too. They love when a dynasty overcomes competition. There is no competition.
They had to overcome a deficit to the Rockets. We saw that series.
Jason, I think you're flat missing the point. Like when you say what Myles Garrett said is that Kevin Durant broke the league. He was wrong there because LeBron started it. This is why Kevin Durant went to Golden State, so that he could beat what Myles Garrett said was not a sure thing. LeBron going to Miami, that was another mistake. It was a sure thing.
They went 4 straight years to the championship.
They said they were going to win 8 or not 7,
but
not 8.
It was a sure thing. We knew Miami was going to be in the finals every single year. What Kevin Durant did, the reason why it is such a big deal is because he had the team that he joined by the neck, the throat, and to leave and to join them, an already great team, to make them even better. That was it. I'm not going to say it was selfish. It was a business decision that he decided to make. I'm not opposed to it. I question it.
So what should he have done? Should Kevin Durant have stayed in Oklahoma City?
No, he has every right to have done whatever he wanted to do.
Should he have gone to the Sacramento Kings?
The argument is not, at least from me, and I don't think from Greg, is not that Kevin Durant made the wrong move.
Right.
He's absolutely right when he says it's not my duty to take care of the league.
Yeah.
If they can't be competitive, that's on them. My contention with you is you're sitting here saying the NBA is not damaged.
Oh, it's tremendous.
You have said yourself, and I know you're going to hit him with the ratings.
You know that.
You have said yourself that no team has ever gone to 5 straight finals since Bill Russell Celtics. Yeah. Guess what? Next year, it's probably going to happen. And if it doesn't, it's not going to be because the Lakers are so good or the Spurs are so good or the Rockets are so good. It's going to be because Golden State got bored or somebody got injured or egos took. Nobody can beat them when they play their game.
And here's the other part. When you talked about people like dynasties, they do when they're natural and when you look at Golden State, Steph, they draft Draymond Green in the second round, Klay Thompson. Those are their guys, all right?
Homegrown talent.
Even when you talk about even the Yankees dynasty of the late 90s and early 2000s, Jeter was homegrown, Posada, Mariano Rivera, Andy Pettitte. They all came from their farm system, so you can't look at it and go, oh, they bought a championship. These are their guys.
Their own general manager even recognizes that with the statements he made about Kevin Durant and his contract. Like, Steph has been here.
He said he earned it.
The commissioner, Adam Silver, said, it's not really good for the league.
Adam Silver could only blame himself for with the salary cap. They could have spaced it out, but they let everybody have all the money. And it really gave the Warriors an opportunity to add a great player.
Do you think the league will make some changes to rectify the situation?
I don't think they should. The league is in great shape.
Just give
Jamie,
us
hold on.
Tell us why.
You know why?
Did you see the TV
because
ratings?
all we're talking about right now is what super team LeBron is going to build to challenge the Warriors.
But why were the TV ratings down?
Because there was a 4-game sweep.
No, but you have a dynasty that people still want to watch, all right?
Look at the Western Conference Finals. Look at the Western Conference Finals ratings. They were up.
No, but I'm telling you,
I'm
talking about Golden State, Game 4, and even the whole series.
It was
the
a
final.
sweep.
Yes, but I'm just telling you, also, people tuned out from game one. Also, the Warriors did not sell out game one
Yeah, think
of the
about that.
finals.
The Warriors fatigued in the Bay Area.
They didn't sell out
That's
game
bad
one.
for the league.
The reason why the
tickets on
Western
the market?
Conference Finals the ratings were up is because we use this word optimistic. People were optimistic that this
That maybe we're
team
gonna see
could possibly
something, right.
dethrone the Golden State Warriors.
But what other metrics do you want to use to call the league broken besides TV ratings? I mean, look at social media interest, Chris. You look at it all the time. People cannot avoid your podcast. It's popping. People love the NBA segments on these shows.
But I also
Guys, the
hear
league
what
is
you're
in-
saying.
I agree.
Kevin Durant has
Popularity
helped the league.
Well, popularity is high, but from a competition standpoint, and here's the difference.
That's
I know
not on KD.
our colleague Colin Cowherd, who's great, he compares it to journalism and marketing and just business in general. It's different. Sports competition is inherent
Yes.
to sports. You cannot even have sports
Without
competition. You can have a newspaper.
Right.
You can have a store. You can have a clothing line without competition. Now, it may be better with competition, but you can have it. You can't have sports without competition, and that's where the challenge is. It's gotten so bad that you've heard people say, LeBron should sit out a year.
Oh, no.
Right.
Come on. That's
People are saying the best player in the world should sit out because there's nowhere he can go
That's
to beat
embarrassing.
Golden State.
That's
I don't agree with that, but that's what people are saying.
You got-
Jason, do you think that Kevin needs to go somewhere else to win?
No,
To validate
that is
his-
lunacy. This idea that he should go to Charlotte or Sacramento to try to prove something.
Nobody's
no
saying
way.
those teams.
Not
That is
those
insanity.
teams. Those
You know
teams.
what, Jamie? We would say if he went anywhere else and didn't win, well, see, he's not a champion. He needs Steph Curry and Klay Thompson.
Okay, can I say this?
I
what
just
if
think
he,
that's idiots.
what if he went, and I'm just throwing it out, to the Knicks and teamed up with
Why?
Porzingis? I'm just saying.
What if he went
and
back
he
to
won a
Oklahoma
champ, and he
City?
won a championship
It
or
would mean
OKC?
more.
It would
Or
mean
Washington,
more.
his hometown. I'm not, look, just like LeBron.
This is
hold on.
such social media knee-jerk
Jason.
stuff. In 10 years, nobody's going to say anything about he should have gone to this
We
other
ain't
team.
10 years from now. We're right now.
I agree with you
Jason,
there.
Did LeBron's titles in Miami were great, just like Durant's
The one
titles
in
here are
Cleveland
fine.
is bigger.
Which was the one in Cleveland bigger than the
Well,
two
they
in
were down
Miami?
3-1, and Draymond Green got
That's
the
all-
suspension.
but-
No,
But
they
even
won.
beyond
They
that,
won.
It was
He
great.
went-
The city had never won it. Your city, Cleveland, had never won anything.
No, they
since
won.
You said
Since
what, the
Jim
Pyramids?
Brown, yeah.
Oh, Jim Brown. Okay, there you
That
go.
one title was bigger. Now, Durant, look, he's getting praise for his 2 rings. So people are saying he's the second best player in the world. Some arguing he's the best player in the world. So nobody's killing him for that. But if he went back to Oklahoma City, or if he went to Washington, his hometown, and led John Wall,
Yes.
to a
Don't listen
title,
to these guys,
it would-
Durant.
I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying it is undeniable that a title he won with one of those teams would be more impressive.
It would
Okay,
put him
hold
over
on.
the top.
Let me
People would
ask
look at his
Jamie this.
legacy.
Jamie, LA person. LeBron comes to LA. They dethrone the Warriors. Won't that trump what LeBron did in
How
Cleveland?
about if they get knocked
Taking
out the
down the
second
greatest
round?
team in
No,
NBA
it wouldn't
history?
trump it. It would be impressive.
I think it would top what he did. in
He
Cleveland.
beat a 73 win
They didn't
team.
have Kevin Durant. This team's better than the 73 win team. It's not even
Did they
close.
win 73 wins?
They got Kevin Durant.
See, I think with what this is proving our point with it has damaged the league because you're saying what needs to happen. LeBron has to team up with somebody or a collective group of guys to trump one team. So we're constantly talking about one
Yes.
team. We're not including the entire Western Conference. We're saying one team because why? Because they are too dominant.
Because in the 80s, it was the Lakers and Celtics and a bunch of other teams, right? There was so many other
Philadelphia,
teams.
Detroit,
Oh, yeah,
Houston.
They all
We're
won.
going to hear more from you
Only
coming up
one repeat.
later
Thanks
in the
for
show.
playing,
But
Broussard.
we're going to kick you out of here for one segment.
Yes.
Should the Browns already be worried about Baker Mayfield?
Bye-bye.
We'll discuss
We
that
might
one
kick
next.
you out for 2.
Oh, you'll come
Bye-bye.
back. You'll come back.
Maybe.
You're
Bye-bye now.
insubordinate.
In the Baker Mayfield discussion, he was the #1 overall draft pick by the Browns. So expectations are obviously high for the former Heisman winner, but not so fast. According to offensive coordinator Todd Haley, Haley said Tyrod Taylor is the clear leader of the team and Baker, quote, has a long way to go. Anytime that you're a young player coming into this league, especially a quarterback, it's going to take time. So, Greg, you are the natural choice to begin this conversation. Baker Mayfield, will his skill set translate to the NFL?
Yes. Yes, his skill set definitely will translate to the NFL and the league game. But there's no concern right now with what Ty Haley is saying. I mean, he's a rookie guy. your intentions weren't to insert him as your number one guy right away. That's why you got Tyrod Taylor, to make sure that the transition for him would be better and he can have that time to kind of wait and learn and get his feet wet. So, and Todd Haley, being an aggressive style coach, he's going to demand a lot out of Baker Mayfield. But I think because of Baker Mayfield's personality, he's going to be up for that challenge. When you look at the Cleveland Browns and their roster, Baker Mayfield is in a great situation. They have weapons all around him.
So many good receivers.
Really good receivers. Josh Gordon, Jarvis Landry, Corey Coleman. This is a make-or-break year for him. He can step up and be very impactful. And then you got Carlos Hyde in the backfield, Njoku at tight end. You got so many weapons surrounding Tyrod Taylor right now and potentially Baker Mayfield when they do make that transition down the road. But for me, this is not headline news. Todd Haley saying he's nowhere close. Yeah, the expectation is for him to be nowhere close right now because he just finished playing collegiate ball, and this is a new game. The learning curve for quarterbacks in the NFL is the toughest learning curve in possibly all of sport. And so for us to believe that Baker Mayfield was going to just come right out and start for the Cleveland Browns, I mean, he would fare like all the other guys, possibly a little better that have tried to do that. The DeShone Kizers and all these other guys, that he's going to struggle. That's just the nature of being a rookie and a young quarterback and inexperienced.
I agree with you that it's way too early to be like alarmed that, oh, he's got a long ways to go. But you have to admit, we are seeing younger quarterbacks come into the league
and make an impact.
And already people are raving about Sam Darnold.
We've always seen it.
They're raving about Josh Rosen already. So I'm just saying it's not like 10 years ago where you just had no expectations.
Chris, really quick, you just mentioned two quarterbacks that are coming in as the number one guy. Sam Darnold and Josh.
But they
not necessarily. They are coming
the Jets
in.
have Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, it's not like they're going to just hand them the job.
I understand, but they are coming in with the expectation this is going to be our guy. Baker Mayfield, no.
Not this year. I mean,
this year. I'm talking about this year. They are coming in with the expectation this is going to be his job to lose. This is not Baker Mayfield's job to lose. When you sign a Tyrod Taylor in the offseason, you're buying yourself a little bit extra time.
I got a few other things I wanted to say about Baker, but since you brought up Tyrod, and I like Tyrod, and I get that in Buffalo they made some.
I'm not saying he's the future.
Well, but I'm tired of hearing about Tyrod Taylor like he's Donovan McNabb. I mean, people are talking about him. Even Ty Haley, like, oh, he's such a great, better leader. He's got the team. Like, if Tyrod Taylor is head and shoulders above Baker Mayfield, I think that's a little bit of a problem. Tyrod Taylor, now again, Buffalo made some bad mistakes. One of them was benching Tyrod Taylor, but he ain't all that. And people are talking about him like he definitely should be starting. And if he's that good, he's young too. If he's that good, Mayfield shouldn't be on the field for the next few years. So all I'm saying is, you know, Sam Bradford isn't going to be handed the job. Josh Rosen isn't going to be handed the job. If they earn it, they will start. And I think Mayfield should have the same opportunity. But coming out of the Big 12, these are my concerns. When's the last time we saw a Big 12 quarterback that was really good consistently?
You're right.
And undersized.
Everybody was comparing him to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson runs a 4.5.
He's not the same. Right.
Baker Mayfield ran a 4.8. A lot of his plays in college came on the move, getting out of the pocket. He was great in college.
So are you saying his skill set is not going to translate to the NFL game?
I'm saying a few things. I'm saying, one, I don't think he's going to be the playmaker outside of the pocket that he was in college. Two, I'm concerned about the adjustment to under center taking snaps. Now, I know Haley runs a lot of shotgun, but still, he's going to have to learn how to take snaps under center, the 7-step drop. None of that's natural to him. That's why Haley said he's got a long way to go. None of that is natural to
any of these young quarterbacks because nobody gets under center anymore. Jim Harbaugh is about the only coach in college in the college game that puts his quarterback in that situation under center.
I'm going to side with Chris in that if Mayfield was good enough to be the first overall pick and you had this talent or whatever, Why not? Why shouldn't it be his job, especially because they upgraded the talent around him? This isn't you coming in as a rookie quarterback with nothing, where you're going to get killed out there. They have everything for him already. All I'm saying, I'm with you. Why isn't he there at the top? And you're going to make another. Didn't we see this movie already with Cleveland? An undersized guy, a project. He ain't ready from day one. How do you learn to play? How do you learn to play in the NFL?
I'm just saying
by playing,
by experience.
By playing, you got to get out there.
And I don't think you're saying hand him the job.
No,
but he should be in the running because again, it's Tyrod Taylor.
Right,
it's Tyrod Taylor.
Well,
it's not.
That's a lot of disrespect.
It's not even Teddy Bridgewater.
That's a lot.
Now, I know Bridgewater's coming off injury, but Bridgewater showed more than Tyrod Taylor in this league.
Did Buffalo make the playoffs? Like, how many teams make the playoffs in the NFL?
Why did they bench him if he was so good?
Was that a mistake?
Yeah, because the dude, they benched him for through 5 interceptions in the first half.
I mean, you're making. I'm not saying Tyrod Taylor is Michael Vick. All I'm saying is Tyrod Taylor. He is a great piece to have while you're preparing your future franchise quarterback.
Wait a minute. Cleveland has won one game over the last 2 years. I mean,
I totally get that. That doesn't mean or warrant them the ability to just say we're just gonna throw our young guy in there just because we have a lot of talent now around him.
Will you admit
if he's not ready?
They upgraded the roster? They had the first and fourth first pick.
I agree with all of that.
I'm just saying. Well, so if you add him to the mix, how is he going to learn to be a good quarterback? He have to play. You can take all the snaps you want in practice, Greg. You notice until you get out there, that's what's going to make you be that guy. You got to play.
Look, did Deshaun Watson start when he first got in?
That was a mistake. They admit it now. It was a mistake, though. Would you admit it?
Yeah, it was a mistake.
Right.
So they had to find out by trial.
No, they put the other guy in, and he was terrible, and then they put him in.
So if that happens, then we will see what Baker Mayfield does. Because Deshaun Watson didn't look great in the preseason.
But it tells you that
he did not look great in the preseason.
A rookie nowadays, I think rookies are getting more of an opportunity to start.
Yes, because there are not there. To your point, even about Tyrod Taylor, because there are not hundreds of elite quarterbacks in this league. It's just not.
But it's also because guys are coming in a bit more prepared and better than they did years ago. Rookies are. I mean, Dak Prescott showed you. Deshaun Watson showed you. A lot of rookies have played well right away, a lot more than it used to be.
This is Dak Prescott. He had a great rookie run. But you put Baker Mayfield, you put Sam Darnold, you put Josh Rosen with that offensive line, and tell any quarterback they have this offensive line and this great run game. That's the ultimate protection of your rookie
so any
quarterback
could have done what Dak Prescott did.
I'm not saying any.
That's what you
I didn't
kind of
say.
said.
No, I listed some names of quarterbacks. They would be salivating to have that offensive line in that run game.
On this team, with the upgrades and the players that they made, I'm talking about the Browns. If they get off and start winning, right, and you got Tyrod Taylor there, how does Baker Mayfield get in? What would be your reason for changing?
He doesn't.
I mean, so he doesn't get in.
No. What? Since when do you have to play your number one overall? Since when?
Since you drafted him and invested money into him.
I think what he's saying, like, let's say best case scenario, Tyrod Taylor has a great season. They make the playoffs. Tyrod Taylor would probably be your starter next year. I think that's what you're saying.
Why wouldn't he?
Do you really think
he's
the Browns
still a
are
young player?
So
they say
no, but they
got talent.
Yeah, they're gonna be all right. I would probably bet no.
There's this team in the NBA, Philadelphia 76ers. They have this rookie on their team this past year. Who's the first round guy, Markelle Fultz. What did he do?
He was injured.
What did he do?
Nothing. What I can name a bunch of rookies that didn't do something.
Did they still have success? Does that mean
get your analogy.
No, does that mean that they made the wrong decision?
Yeah, they should have taken Jason Tatum.
There's a decision.
Yeah, now we all say that.
Greg obviously wants to stop the NFL conversation, go back to the NBA topic. So we'll grant you your wish.
Let's find out what Tiger's doing. Can we get that?
Yeah, we'll get you the Tiger
How
at the end of the break.
optimistic he
Just bogeyed again.
Did he?
Just
Really?
bogeyed again.
Wow.
Are the current Warriors really
taking
better than
major
Jordan's
L's
Bulls?
today,
Some
bro.
experts in Vegas believe so. Jason McIntyre is back to answer that question next. We're just 1 week removed from the Warriors winning back-to-back titles, but they're already being put in their historical place. Several Vegas bookmakers said they would favor this year's Warriors team over Michael Jordan's 1996 Bulls team. This is the same Bulls team that won a then-record 72 games and is considered to be the best team of all time. We are bringing Jason McIntyre back in for another round. Jason, what do you think? This year's Warriors versus Jordan's Bulls?
I think Jordan could probably get a game or two off these Warriors. I mean, I'm going to side with Las Vegas here. We're looking at, maybe the best offensive team in NBA history. 3 of the greatest shooters ever. I mean, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant.
Well, you throw greatest around pretty easy.
Well, listen, the numbers don't lie, Rob. I mean, we're talking about, Steph Curry led the league in three-pointers for like 5 straight years.
He's the best shooter ever.
Big-time Game 6, they're down against the Rockets. Klay Thompson chips in with 9 threes. Is anybody on that Bulls team, other than Scottie Pippen, bailing out Michael Jordan? I mean, you go back and look at
Bailing out Michael Jordan?
Yeah, if he needed help.
He never needed anybody to bail him out.
That's why they never
Mistake
got to a
number
7
one.
game.
Superman
Mistake number
needs
1.
help. I have a feeling you guys are going Bulls here. I think that's a mistake. And, Jamie, you know this. We're a little younger than these folks here. And there is something
Wait a minute. Whoa,
about
wait a minute.
love.
Actually, Greg's younger than you.
It's possible.
Yes.
There's something about love for what you grew up with when you were younger. The music was better. The movies were better. And everybody remembers Michael Jordan. He never missed a shot. I mean, Michael Jordan was perfect. I mean, 6-0 in the finals. We forget, okay? This is a guy who lost to Penny Hardaway and Shaq when he came back from baseball.
Stop. Don't bring up
I'm
the
just saying.
baseball season.
Listen,
Seriously.
Dennis Rodman on the 96
He didn't
Bulls.
play for a year and a half.
Stop it.
Don't bring that up.
Dennis Rodman on the 96 Bulls was 34 years old. Now, this was a great team, undeniable. I would say probably a top 4 team in NBA history. They were number 1 offensively and defensively in 96. But I just feel like the way these Warriors shoot the ball, I think they would take
Who
down
had
the
a
Bulls
better
in
shooting
5 or 6.
Who had a better shooting percentage from 3? The Bulls team or the Warriors team?
How many threes did those Bulls shoot? 15 a game?
Who had a
10?
better percentage?
I have to say this, Rob.
It was the Bulls, though.
I have to say this,
Obviously.
though. Remember, and this gets to, I don't want to belabor this point, but this gets to the rules. That was a year, 96, when the three-point line was shorter. Remember, from 94 to 97, they moved it in about a foot, so it was a little shorter than it is now. And, you could hand check back then. The three-pointers weren't as prime. So I don't want to get it to the rules, but those are things that would be a factor.
Here's a problem I also have with the Warriors. I would take the Bulls, of course. That team, offensively, defensively, they have the greatest player of all time. It was just a well-oiled machine. They went 15-3 in the postseason to win a championship.
Warriors went 16-1 last year. Okay,
we're talking about this year.
They didn't face Shaq
It was
and Penny.
16-5.
And that Shaq and Penny team, you
They
laughing?
were good. They were very good.
They were good.
The Bulls swept them that year.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
All right.
And the other,
Who did Golden State
Let
beat
Rob
this
get a
year that
word
was
in
as
here.
good?
He's so fired up.
As Shaq and Kobe.
Finish your point.
No, and then I was going to
you're the
say,
one
and the other part is a reason that I can't buy into the Warriors, even though we're talking about this year and they won a championship, they still have a couple of players who were on that choke team that choked to the Cavaliers when they were up 3-1. I mean, so when I look at a team, I look at that. Great teams don't. The first time in NBA history that a finals team came back from 3-1 was against this Golden State Warriors with Steph, with Draymond Green, with Klay Thompson, and this was after they had already won a championship that they choked. So I'm not buying the Warriors.
That's a great point because, look, they're both great teams. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if you want to argue Golden State, I mean, they're a legitimate team. There's no doubt, a legitimate champion. But to your point, we never saw Jordan lose on the big stage. We never even saw him go 7.
Case
Why
closed.
in the world would I bet against him
Case closed.
when nobody on the big stage beat him? He just brought up, on the big stage, we saw Durant in Oklahoma City. It wasn't even the biggest stage,
Right.
but give up a 3-1 lead. And then we saw his teammates now give up a 3-1 lead on the big
And
stage.
remember, that was a 73-win team that had
Yes.
never lost more than 2 games in a row. They lost 3 games.
They could not close the
Yes.
deal.
Jamie, I just got to go back to the original question.
Let me
We're talking
finish.
about the Durant Warriors, not the pre-Durant
Okay, I'm
Warriors.
gonna bring that up because one of the big things about the Durant Warriors is the Hamptons 5. Okay, that Bulls team had a small ball lineup that could play with the Hamptons 5. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Tony Kukoc, who was a very good player, Dennis Rodman, who was one of the greatest
Hall of
defenders
Famer.
ever.
And Ron
As
Harper.
good as Draymond is defensively,
Yes.
Rodman was better, and Ron Harper. So you want to know who's guarding who? I'll put Rodman on Durant and let him get physical with Durant. And at times I can put Pippen on him.
You laugh at
Pippen
that.
on him. Kukoc can handle Iguodala because he's not as much of an offensive threat. Harper can play with Draymond because he's not as much of an offensive threat. Pippen on Clay? How many open looks is Clay
He's not
getting
gonna
on
get
Pippen?
many, right.
Michael Jordan on Steph Curry. How many open looks is
This
come
is
on.
hilarious.
They're beating him up physically.
This whole, like,
Before,
okay, go
you,
ahead.
before
Go
you
ahead.
even
Let's
go,
Yeah, I
before you
got
even
plenty
go,
for you, Bruce.
Before you even go, I'm not gonna even take it to the hardwood. I'm gonna take it to just the mental toughness and fortitude of that Chicago Bulls team. The mindset alone.
Yeah.
They're mentally tougher than the current Golden State Warriors. Draymond Green is the only mentally tough guy on the Golden State Warriors, hands down.
So Kevin
period.
Durant and
no,
Steph Curry are not
no,
mentally
no,
tough?
absolutely not.
Wow.
Absolutely
That is
not.
shots
when
fired.
I look at these matchups, when I look at how they would match up, there is not one matchup that I would say the Warriors just dominate. Even with how great Kevin Durant is, he would be good. He would get his, but I can't honestly say he's going to dominate Dennis Rodman. And then we haven't even mentioned Phil Jackson. They got the better coach. Like these
Kerr's
things.
a good coach, though.
Kerr's a good coach. He's
Yeah.
not Phil Jackson. And so for me, I haven't even mentioned Michael Jordan.
This
Like,
is
you got the greatest player to ever
prisoner
play
of the-
of
this
all
is-
Can I get
this
a
is
20-second
prisoner of the
timeout? Let me
moment.
get a 20-second
20-second
timeout.
timeout.
Stop with the matchups. That's not how the game is played today. The Warriors, if you watch
Actually,
them,
it is.
Yes, it is.
Everybody, what does every
No.
team do today? They try to get a pick and roll
Right, so
to
it's
get
not.
hold on.
Exactly,
To get
that's what I'm
listen
saying.
to me.
You're making my
to
point.
get a favorable matchup.
That's my point.
Let me get Steph Curry on me so I can take him to
So
the
this
basket.
idea that
That's what
Dennis
they do.
Rodman is going to guard Kevin Durant, that's not how it works. They run pick and rolls all over the perimeter to get Kevin Durant against a
But-
George Hill, to get Kevin Durant against a
Where's the
Chris
George Hill?
Paul.
No George Hill in
Right.
that
Yeah,
lineup.
that's
You
right.
know who
That's
you
right.
get Kevin Durant
Yeah.
against? Dennis Rodman,
Where do
Tony
you-
Kukoc, Scottie
Where's
Pippen,
George
Michael
Hill coming
Jordan,
How
from?
many?
or Ron Harper.
No, George Hill, PJ Tucker, whoever you want to name. How many All-Star games for Tony Kukoc? As good as he was. He was not a great player.
All-Star
He was
games are
not a great
popularity
defender.
contest.
Ron Harper.
Ron
Harper
had 3
years old.
All-Stars on
this
his
idea
team.
that Ron
LeBron
Harper
James
could
is
shut down
33.
anybody is preposterous, Chris. This was a good team.
He was a good
undeniable. They were great defensively
team?
and offensively.
A good team.
These Warriors.
They were 72 and 10.
All-time great team.
I think we
They would not
have
beat
to
these
respect
Warriors.
right now what the Warriors are doing in this era.
It's just prisoner of the moment.
Because
That's because it
I mean,
happened yesterday.
because you mentioned you're talking Warriors. I mean, in today's game, yeah, but we can also argue if they played in their time, in their era, the Warriors have no chance. They have no chance.
You're right. I forgot. In the 96 finals, Michael Jordan was up against Hersey Hawkins. You know the Seattle Sonics started Frank Brickowski in that series?
I don't
guys?
care who.
I mean, I know they had
They
Peyton
also
Kemp,
had
but
Sean
let's
Kippen.
not
And
act
you
like
talk about Hershey
the
Hawkins like he was a joke.
He was
a
good, but
20-point scorer in this league.
not at that age he wasn't. And again,
Because he was playing with Kemp and Pete.
I've gone on rants about this. I just don't think the basketball in the 90s, outside of Jordan, was very good. I think
And
the
you're
80s
saying
was
saying
incredible.
now where there's no
Where
competition.
there are super teams everywhere.
No, they're not everywhere. There's only
they're
2
in-
or 3 teams.
Chris Paul had
There's
to go
nothing-
try to form
it's all-
one in
it's-
Houston.
It's all
Super
bad.
team, other than
Well,
what we have in
Oklahoma
Golden
City
State.
got your guy Carmelo Anthony. They got Paul George.
That's a super team. That's
Boston,
what
That was a super
Kyrie,
team.
Boston,
They
Kyrie
barely
Irving,
made the
Anthony's
playoffs.
Gordon
15th
Hayward.
year.
I'm not saying they're super, but they are the idea of a
You just
super
said
team
they're
of
a super
joining
team.
forces, not super. super. That makes any sense.
No, it doesn't. Just like everything that you said
stop it.
since
Stop
you
it.
sat down.
Look, Jason, I'm not going to go as far as them. I do think the Warriors have some other mentally tough players, but Steph is not as mentally tough as Michael Jordan.
How do you gauge that, Broussard? What are you gauging that on?
Because, like he said, we have evidence of Steph dropping a 3-1 lead in the finals.
Yes,
We have
it happened.
evidence of Steph not. I do think he should have been MVP in the finals in 2015, but we have evidence of him struggling at times.
Oh, really?
In the postseason.
That's why
Yeah.
he didn't get the MVP this year, because he shot
He
3
didn't
for
struggle.
16.
It's 'cause Kevin
He
Durant
struggled.
was
No, he
incredible.
did. He
He
struggled in
pressed.
game 3.
He had a bad
He
game.
was 3 for 16.
Yeah, okay.
You
Well,
should
I'm
let
with
him
you.
play.
You're right.
Win the
That's
MVP.
Jamie,
Should you
this
win
is
the final
hagiography.
MVP?
Michael
Yeah.
Jordan never had a bad game in the finals. Never. No.
No, we're not.
We just saw a bad game from Curry, so we're acting like, oh my gosh, awful game, Rob. Steph
Here's
Curry,
the
not that good.
difference, Jason.
Yeah, crazy.
When Michael Jordan struggled offensively, because he has some bad shooting nights, guess what he did? He locked you down
Defensively.
That's the difference. Steph's not going to do that on the other end of the floor. So I'm not going to disrespect these Warriors. They're a great team, and it could be a good game. But I think you have to give the edge. If you look at it objectively, you have to give the edge to the Bulls because they beat tremendous teams en route to the
So
championship.
Vegas makes the Warriors favorites, but you on a neutral court are saying what? Bulls in 5, 6,
I don't
7?
really care about what.
Yeah,
Yeah, Vegas doesn't know anything. I mean, they built casinos in the desert.
I don't even want to go
Yeah,
to
well, how's that
how many
translate to
games.
basketball?
I just know in my heart of hearts, I'm riding with the Bulls. Bottom line, because you have Michael Jordan.
The greatest
You
player
have
ever.
the greatest, and just his mentality alone, he will do whatever it takes to win. We never saw him. This is why LeBron is having such a hard time just trumping Michael Jordan with the GOAT. We can say LeBron is in the GOAT runnings and all this stuff, but we will never say Steph Curry is. We will never say Klay Thompson is, or Kevin Durant is, or Draymond Green. We will never say none of those guys on this Warrior team is, regardless of how much they win, because they have so much firepower. Jordan, it was Jordan, Pippen, and then a huge supporting cast, and they never lost. In the guys that they played against in the East, as well as when they got to the finals, they put in work and they did the job that we all felt and knew that they were going to do every single year.
So, Jamie, I didn't hear you chime in.
You were trying to bring me in. You brought into like a generational thing. 96 Bulls. I'm sorry. You're a glutton for
Done.
punishment.
Skip Bayless will come back and defend me next week.
Done.
I will
No,
text
Skip
you
is
about
taking
this.
the Bulls. Are you kidding?
All right, Jason,
gone.
thank you for
Be
joining
gone.
us again. Will Cristiano
Bye-bye.
Ronaldo carry Portugal to an upset, guys? Play nice over Spain today. U.S. soccer legend Kobe Jones is here to break down the World Cup next. No, you could throw it at him. Get him.
Bye-bye.
Coming out the sky, I'm ready, I'm ready. Coming out the rubble, I'm ready, I'm ready.
The 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. The final leg of the journey is underway. Brazil's captain, the superstar, goes wild. Drive it, Messi. Take a bow. He's going to go all the way in. And that is absolutely brilliant.
It is day 2 of the World Cup in Russia. We are joined now by Fox soccer analyst and U.S. national team star Kobe Jones. Kobe, welcome to Undisputed. Guys will be much more civil in this segment than this one.
I'm scared walking in here. Firestorm.
So we've got a pretty big matchup coming up on Fox between Spain and Portugal. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo, I didn't know this. He had never scored a goal against Spain. How do they turn the tides and pull off the upset?
Well, I think it's going to be extremely difficult for Cristiano Ronaldo. And when we talk about this Portuguese side, most people think of just him. There are other players, obviously, that are top talent. But when it comes down to it, the focus when he's on the field is always on him by opposing teams. So you're getting in a situation where Spain is going to try to shut him down and force others to try to make the game. And when you're playing against a top side like Spain, that's extremely difficult. So don't expect too much.
Don't expect too much. Temper the expectations.
No, that's interesting. But does he need to win a World Cup? Because you're right, it's on his teammates too. But he's viewed as one of the best ever. Does he need to win this World Cup to kind of solidify his legacy, regardless of who his teammates are?
Yes. Yeah, without a
Okay,
doubt.
so-
And, championships do matter. I mean, we can always talk about, okay, Cristiano Ronaldo, is he one of the best in the world? You can even throw Messi in there, right? But until they win a World Cup, they will never be on the same level as Maradona or Pele. If you're lifting the trophy, saying that you led your team to be the best in the world, that's significant. That puts you a step above the rest.
Spain fired its manager 2 days ago. How much will that hurt them?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very interesting situation where Julian Lopetegui got, pushed out by the federation.
That's because he was interviewing for another gig or whatever.
You got it. Didn't do it, I guess, in the right way. But when you're looking at this, the most important thing right now is the World Cup, and that full national team. So it surprises me that the federation would actually push him out 2 days before. Because no matter what anyone says, we've all been around teams. If you have something this major, the coach leaving, a couple days before you start, that's going to affect the squad. So for me, yes, it will affect the side. They've gone from, one of those top 2 or 3 teams when you're talking about Spain, Germany, and, maybe throw in one other team to win it all. And maybe they drop down just a bit.
Now, which team will make a deeper run, Portugal or Spain?
Spain. I still think at this point they have a lot of talent that they will make a deeper run than Portugal. I think they're a total and complete team as compared to Portugal that depends quite a bit on the abilities of Cristiano Ronaldo.
Moving on to the matchup on Sunday between Germany and Mexico, another huge one to look forward to. What do you think Mexico needs to do to upset the defending champs?
This is interesting. When you look at Germany and Mexico, they always seem to get paired up in the World Cup, and most of the times, shockingly enough, Germany comes out on top. So this was kind of a situation where they were a little bit, hesitant, going, okay, we got Germany again. For them to match up against Germany, they're going to have to weather the storm. This German team is like a machine. They consistently just, bring top players, perform well, dominate the field, and most likely they'll dominate possession. What Mexico has to do is they have to get their creative players on the ball and be very productive in that final third at the few moments that they will have. So you need the Dos Santos brothers being very active. Carlos Vela up top and getting the ball to one of their main strikers, Chicharito. He's got to be on point and ready in this match at the right time.
You give him much of a chance?
I would say they've got a 50-50, which is pretty good against Germany. And I think this Mexican side has gotten better as far as their tactical approach to things. And I think they're a much more physical team than what we've seen in the past of the Mexico side.
So is Germany the team to beat?
Yes.
In the field?
Yes. Team to beat.
Why is that?
Well, because they have a tradition. We could go way back just to their culture and how they go about, developing players and players playing at the top level all around the world. And they bring together, they seem to play with an attitude of, it doesn't matter if one individual gets all the credit. It plays where everyone comes together and gives towards that team because they have a lot of superstars, but everybody there's no one that's way above, the rest. We got Timo Werner that's going to be playing up top. He's like the new star striker that's coming in that everyone's excited to see how he does.
I hear the way you talk about Germany. Is Germany now considered the world power of soccer?
Oh, yes. Germany by far is considered the world power. And I say that meaning that they're always there. Every World Cup, one of the top choices is Germany, because they just have a way. It's that, in a variety of different sports, it's that team that's always finds a way.
I always thought
like
Brazil was that team for a long time, right?
Yeah, until the last World Cup where they just kind of folded. And if you notice in that last World Cup, everything was about Neymar. And, he gets injured and then it's like, oh, their hopes are dashed. That's the one thing about Germany is that they have a variety of different players that they can go to, multiple players that can damage you and break you down defensively.
So we had Warren on yesterday, and he said Senegal is his dark horse. Do you have a dark horse? Would you go with Senegal or somebody else?
I do like Senegal as a dark horse, and obviously we're talking about the big underdog, right? Right. They got Sadio Mane on the team, and he was absolutely fabulous for Liverpool, during the Champions League final. He couldn't pull him off to the victory, but he did well. That's one of those teams, too, where you're you're picking kind of like one player to try to lift the rest of the team. So as a dark horse, yeah, I think it's great. For me, any of the African countries I think are dark horses right now, and I'm going to try to support. We forget, I believe it's only 8 teams have won the World Cup up until this point. I wouldn't mind seeing, someone else step in there, and kind of shake it up a bit.
It sounds like the NBA, current state of the NBA, the same teams win all the time.
Yeah, that's it, There you go.
Never happens in baseball.
Before we let you go, it's obviously been a big week for American soccer, and the fact that the U.S. won the bid for the 2026 World Cup alongside Mexico and Canada. How do you think that that's going to impact American soccer here?
This is amazing. I mean, especially with the disappointment of the U.S. team not being in this World Cup, I think this was extremely important to give us something to look forward to. Lessen the sting of not being here now, that knowing in 8 years that we are going to be part of that united bid, well, it's not even the bid anymore, the united hosting of the World Cup in 2026. I think we look back at '94, the legacy of that World Cup was MLS and this sport kind of growing. So we built from the top down. I think this World Cup coming, we can kind of build from the bottom up. All the funds and the monies that come in go into like the youth sports, into youth soccer, and help build the game as far as developing players, which will help this national team in the future.
Awesome. All right, Kobe, thank you so much for joining us, and looking forward to the big matches later today on Fox. All right, Portugal, Spain will start 1 o'clock Eastern. That is on Fox. Next topic for us, will the Giants return to the playoffs now that Odell Beckham Jr. is healthy? We'll discuss that one next.
No. Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't miss our favorite radio show every Sunday, The Odd Couple, starring our very own Chris Broussard and Rob Parker, every Sunday from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern on
Those
Fox
two old guys over there.
There we go. Very nice.
No,
One
one
of
is
those
young,
handsome
one is
fellas.
old.
That's the odd couple. One has 3 beautiful daughters, one has no kids.
Giants head coach Pat Shermer said yesterday that there is no reason to believe Odell Beckham Jr. won't be able to do everything at training camp. Beckham ran routes at full speed with Eli Manning this week. He only played 4 games last season after breaking his ankle. The Giants only won 3 games last year after winning 11 the previous year. So, Greg, starting with you again here, are you confident that the Giants will bounce back with a healthy Odell?
Yeah, they're going to bounce back. How far back they bounce, that's the question. Bouncing back from 3 games, winning 3 games, or winning more than 3 games this year, I don't think that's the issue. I think trying to get playoff contention, that's the issue. When you look at the NFC and how deep the NFC is, I don't see them making the playoffs, but I definitely see them bouncing back from what they did last year with that showing. They are not a 3-13 team when healthy. When you talk about all the weapons that they have on the perimeter at the skill positions, and you add in Saquon Barkley, and you give Eli Manning, I know you're not high on Eli Manning, but you give him a Nate Solder to protect his blind side, and then you draft a guard, I think Will Hernandez in the 2nd round. You're establishing your upfront protection for your older quarterback, the oldest quarterback in that division. I like the direction they are headed. Defensively, there's no way they have the showing that they had last year. They are not that bad of a defensive team. They were on the field far too much because their offense couldn't keep the ball on the field. So when I look at the New York Football Giants, they're going to be a better team. How much better? That's to be seen. In my opinion, I think that they're the 2nd best team in that division. I'm not high on the Cowboys because I believe Dak Prescott needs to show me more. But with a healthy Odell, Evan Ingram at tight end, Sterling Shepard, you have so many weapons, and Saquon Barkley shoring up a running game that the Giants haven't had since Tiki Barber. Yeah. This is something that has been a necessity for this team and will help Eli Manning. So I like the direction that the New York Giants is headed.
Jamie, ask me if the Giants will make the playoffs.
Let's not forget that I just said your radio show is my favorite, okay? So just go easy on my Giants. Go ahead, have at it.
No way.
No how.
That was coming.
You know what? And I get it.
The question isn't the playoffs.
No,
though.
I understand, but the bounce back.
But that's
I'm with
what
you.
a bounce back is.
Right.
If they go 7-9,
that ain't no bounce back. Right. And here's the other thing. I get the Barkley. Okay, you got a running back that should open up stuff. But Eli Manning, and I'm telling you, I have much respect for Eli Manning. He won 2 Super Bowls. He won both MVPs. He beat Tom Brady in the 18-0 Patriots. I give him all of that. We've given him the parades, all of the accolades. I would take him any day over Phillip Rivers, who's a great regular season quarterback, over a guy who's made plays during the biggest moments. But look at his numbers. He's not a good quarterback and hasn't been. Even those Super Bowl years, if you go look, during the regular season, he doesn't play all that well, and then he's played big in big spots, Greg. They missed the boat at a chance at replacing this guy, and I'm telling you, they're going to rue the day that there was a slew of quarterbacks available. When you go 3-13 and you have an opportunity and it's in front of you, and here's the other great part. It's Sam Darnold, who's with the Jets. The Giants could have had him. Yep. He's in New York. Everybody always going to look at Darnold and Barkley and go, you know what I mean? Look at what the Giants missed out on. I'm not in on Eli anymore. There was a reason last year that they decided to break his streak and not play him.
Because they were insane for doing that.
He was bad.
They were insane for breaking that streak.
No, they weren't.
Very
He was
upset.
bad. He shouldn't have been
And
playing.
I stopped watching football the rest of the season after that point because I was that upset, except for the playoffs.
Jamie,
do you think they made a mistake?
I like the fire. They definitely made a mistake. I like Eli Manning. You know, I think his kids went to the same school as my daughters. You know,
did they really?
Yeah, out in New Jersey. So I'm a fan of him as a person. And like you said, been clutch. Those 2 Super Bowls were great. But even Eli Manning in his prime was not a great regular season quarterback. He led the league in interceptions 3 times. You know, he never was the most accurate quarterback. They made the playoffs 2 times in the last 9 years. Now, I know everybody wants to say the offensive line was horrible. They didn't have a running game last year. Beckham was out. But what about the previous 8 years when they only made it twice? Even when he was at his best, they weren't a guarantee. Most times they weren't a playoff team.
And you know what?
And you had the opportunity to get the next guy. You could have started Eli this year and groomed Darnold like we were talking about with Baker Mayfield. Groom Darnold for next year or even 2 years from now.
And you know what?
He's 37 years old.
I think you're not respecting Saquon.
But here's the other part.
No, let me say something about Saquon, who looks fine, okay?
Fine.
But,
Fine.
Yeah, because
That's what you say when you take an ugly girl to dinner. It was fine.
He was really impressive catching the ball and running with it. His rushing numbers didn't blow me away. This was a deep. They didn't.
Come on, Greg, chime in here.
How many yards did he have against Rutgers? Something like 47. I mean, he had a lot of games where he didn't have a ton of 100-yard games. And again, he was great out of the backfield catching the ball. But running off tackle, I'm not saying he can't do it, but his numbers put him up against Leonard Fournette and Ezekiel Elliott when they were in college. They were a lot more dominant rushing the ball than he was.
And I'll tell you this.
And this was a great running back draft. I like Darius Geis out of LSU, Rashad Penny. I'm just saying you could have got a formidable running back, maybe not quite as good as Saquon, later in the draft, and still got your quarterback of the future. They're fooled. Everybody thinks Tom Brady's 41. Now you can quarterback forever. No, Eli's old. They should have moved on.
You guys just completely flipped this question and just turned it on Eli, this Eli bash.
And let me tell you something. I don't want to debate whether or not they're going to win 6 or 7 games.
I mean,
you're not even saying they're going to make the playoffs.
Now I know how you felt during the Tiger Woods segment. And if they're going to add insult to injury, now we have to talk about the Eagles championship rings because they unveiled their Super Bowl rings. Yeah, they did. But will they defend their title next season? We'll discuss that next. You guys got to see these rings.
They saved you when we moved on.
Time for our final topic of the day. The Eagles received their Super Bowl rings last night, and they are pretty flashy.
Gaudy.
Featuring 219 diamonds and 17 green sapphires. On the field, the Eagles are tied with the Steelers and Vikings with the second best odds to win it all next year. That's according to Westgate. While the Patriots have the best odds to win next season. So, Greg, what do you think? Eagles should be a favorite to repeat?
Absolutely. They got better this offseason. They created even more depth on a team that had some of the most depth in the National Football League in the deepest conference. So guys are going to get hurt. They have depth. They got better. They got two great quarterbacks.
Yeah, but I like their team too. And they did add pieces, and they got 2 quarterbacks. They're set. Best thing about it is, though, they're sending Tom Brady a ring, too, for that fumble in the last 2.5 years.
No, look, I mean, they obviously have a good team, and I don't mind them being co-favorites if that's what they were. But like you said, it's tough to repeat. We haven't seen it since the Patriots in 2005. So I really wouldn't pick any team to repeat. I don't know who I'd pick ahead of them. I do like the Rams. I think Atlanta could have a bounce-back year. You know, there are other teams, obviously, in the AFC, Pittsburgh, New England, but I would just pick the field over them repeating because it's so hard to do.
When the Patriots repeated, they were videotaping the walkthroughs and the defensive signals, so it made it a little easier.
We can always count on you for something.
He never misses an opportunity
Never.
to bash
Patriots still favorites in the AFC?
Yeah, you can't.
What?
Yeah,
No, they're not.
Yeah,
Well, they're having fun now.
Absolutely.
They're having
They
fun.
are. Who's favorite?
Who's the favorite? The Steelers, the Jaguars?
Jaguars.
I like the Jaguars. They're not the
Good.
favorite.
That's it for us.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Keep an eye out for a weekend edition of the podcast tomorrow morning, featuring the best discussions and segments from this week. We'll be back with more Undisputed on Monday morning at the same time, 9:30 Eastern. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.